Okay, a very good evening to one and all. Welcome to Buddhist Mahavira's public page on Facebook, and also to our page in the main page at Buddhist Mahavira at Facebook. This evening we have a very special guest, and he's been on our show on the Dhammadana series last week as well. And we are very glad and happy that we have Bhante Kusala from Detroit, who's with us this evening to join us for this Dhamma sharing. Let me bring on Bhante. Good evening, Bhante.
And good evening to you. It's morning here.
Yeah, it's a good morning to you, and it's a good evening to us.
Well done.
Uh, yes, we have about 27 people now.
Very nice.
Let me quickly read your profiles, and then we can quickly get into the Dhamma sharing in a little while. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Bhante D. Kusala was born in Sri Lanka in 1987. He entered monastic life at the age of 16 at the Gangagiri Vihara in South Sri Lanka. And in 2007, he received his higher ordination or Upasampada. He continued to pursue his undergraduate and graduate studies at the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka. He then moved to Italy to study cognitive science and engage in mindfulness-based research at the University of Trento in Italy. In 2014, he then moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts to pursue a Master's of Divinity degree from the Harvard University as a Robert H.N. Ho Family Foundation Scholar. Bhante Kusala has also served as a translator for Bhante Vimala Ramsey, Sister Hema, Ajahn Brahmwanso or Ajahn Brahm, and also Ajahn Brahmali when they, I think, visit Sri Lanka and when he's around in Sri Lanka. He has lectured and taught internationally and served as a resident chaplain at the Brigham and Women's Hospital, the second largest teaching hospital of the Harvard Medical School, and at the Dana Faber Cancer Institute from 2017 to 2018. In 2018, Bhante was invited to the Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara outside of Detroit, Michigan, to continue his Dhamma service and volunteers in hospitals in the area as a spiritual care provider. Whilst at the Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara, he's also working on his second year of his PhD in Pali from the Sri Jayawardhanapura University of Sri Lanka. So that is Bhante's profile. And now I would like to invite Bhante to start this evening sharing. And it's called Finding Inner Peace in Crisis Moments. Bhante, would you like to take the stage?
Thank you, Leslie Mahatma, for the introduction. And so hope you had a great Mother's Day the other Sunday when we last spoke. And today, here we are with another new topic. So this time it's not about enlightenment, but more about life. Well, enlightenment is also about life. I like to begin this topic, finding inner peace in crisis moments, with sort of a reflection, and this is in a form of a poem that I found really helpful. This is a poem by David Haas, that's his name. So he says, not everything is cancelled. So that's a great reminder for us because the whole world is dealing with a pandemic. When we are dealing with a pandemic, someone comes up with a poem that says, that kind of reminds us that there are things that are not cancelled. He does say, this is how he begins. So much has been and will continue to be for some time cancelled. Sports events, concerts, plays, worship services, rallies, travel, meetings, classes, family gatherings, and so much more. However, he says, love has not been cancelled. Mercy has not been cancelled. Prayer has not been cancelled. Attentiveness has not been cancelled. Goodness has not been cancelled. Thanksgiving has not been cancelled. Loving relationships have not been cancelled. Kindness has not been cancelled. Music has not been cancelled. Conversations have not been cancelled. Learning has not been cancelled. Poetry and storytelling has not been cancelled. Courage has not been cancelled. Meditation and contemplation has not been cancelled. Painting and dancing has not been cancelled. Families have not been cancelled. Community and solidarity has not been cancelled. Faith has not been cancelled. Hope has not been cancelled. And Buddha's presence, he used the word God's presence in his poem, with us has not been cancelled. So that is the poem. And in that, I think you found many, many good reminders, especially the sunlight, moonlight, clouds, the rain, rivers, the creeks, love, moments of reflection, prayer, all these things have not been cancelled. Someone has to come up with something like this. Sometimes when people have not seen any ray of hope for a while, this became very popular here in the United States. It's been sent over many emails to hospital staff, including chaplains who have been constantly dealing with a lot of crisis moments, out there with patients. Chaplain is a person who is going to the hospital or to a hospice place. Hospice place is a place where elderly people live with assisted living support, and chaplains visit these places. Chaplain is a person who give religious help, faith related help, prayer support, or just giving companionship. So when they go, they share these poems. I'm one of them. Sometimes I get called to the hospital to sit by the bedside of a patient, and I help them with some hope, some reminders, some reading a poem or reading a quote by the Buddha. And recently, just before COVID pandemic broke, I sat with a lady. She was 97 years old, and her only son had passed away about 30 so years ago, and her son left a house for her to live and all this wealth and a grandson, and now the grandson also has children. So this mom asking me, why did he give me more days to live? So when she said he, she meant the God. Why did he give me more time to live? So what do you think I'm supposed to say? So she was having a little crisis in the bedside. While I was sitting by the bedside, she was dealing with it. She did not find any hope in her life. She was just dealing with, just even before pandemic, people were dealing with problems. So in every situation, somebody may find a problem. Somebody may have a problem. Some people only see only seek a problem. So for this woman, I started, kind of comforting her. You can use this time, extra time, for reflection. Let the universe have your plan unfolded to yourself. Have loving thoughts, loving kindness filled in your mind. And what has happened in the past, what has happened in the future, these things, what will happen in the future, these things we are not in control of. We cannot take control of the universe direction. It's the universe's time and universe's phase. What happens is that we try to take control over things, and we think that we need to have a deadline. We need to expire now so that we can go see the beloved people. That is the belief here in the United States. A lot of people are informed by Christianity and Catholic teachings, and they believe that they will see the loved ones upon death. I don't confront that teaching. Also in Buddhism, they say you meet again and again. We don't know how and when and which form, but as long as you are dwelling in the cycle of samsara, you are going to meet again and again. So for this woman, she has hopes that she will see her son again. She has hopes that she will see her husband again. Whether or not they are in happy places, they believe that they are in heaven and that they will see these people again in their life. That's what they believe. So what is a so that's how she was dealing with her life. She was going through this crisis when she was reminded that you can enjoy this moment, that this breath you are taking is your present, and take it as a gift. Give thanks that you have been given extra time for a reason. Reflect on it. Fill your heart with loving kindness, and that this extra time that you have been given will be a blessing to you. That is what I shared with her, and she began reflecting. She began kind of listening carefully and reflecting that maybe yes, there is a purpose. Let me find this purpose in my life so that I feel kind of rejuvenated, being given extra time so that I can contemplate on this day. Each moment will be beautiful, but I am the person to make it beautiful. So you might be dealing with a crisis moment, or you may not. You may be in peace completely right now. We don't know. Crisis comes and crisis goes. What is a crisis moment? It's a moment when you feel troubled, when you are reminded of something that happened in the past, when you are reminded that something is going to happen in the future. We are in a crisis moment. What do we deal with? We are dealing with feelings. Strongest feelings are anxiety and depression. So you have, you know, these feelings. I have given you an example. If you see on the screen, imagine child going to meet a dentist. This child going to meet a dentist, and he knows that this meeting is going to take place tomorrow. And he has a lot of anxiety about this. He's dealing with a crisis at home. He goes to his mommy and says, "Mommy, you don't love me. That's why you are taking me to someone who's going to pull teeth from my mouth. I hate that. I don't like anyone putting stuff in my mouth and pulling my teeth. I will not go. Mommy, you don't love me. I will sleep in a different bed. Don't come near me." Don't take me there. So a lot of panic this child goes through overnight. And the next morning, uh, mommy prepares the child to go meet the dentist. Mommy tells a lot of good things, that you will not have any pain, the dentist will take care of it nicely and all that. And couple of minutes later, after waking up and preparing and all of that, now that they are ready to go, the child is kind of being dragged and dragged to the dentist. And upon reaching the dentist office, they find out that the dentist appointment has been cancelled. No appointment. So what do you think happened to all that fight, struggle, anxiety that they went through? So the child went through some anxiety, mom went through some anxiety. Now, was it really helpful? It was just a waste of time. Complete waste of time. This is what happens to us. Before something happens, we begin worrying about it, complaining about it, refusing it in our heart. Why? That's because future brings thoughts related to anxiety. Because we accept the existence of a future, we ignore what is happening now, the breath that is happening now, the beautiful flower vases that you are seeing in front of you, the child in front of you, or the husband in front of you, or the little Buddha statue in front of you, the scene outside of your window. You ignore all of that because of something that's going to happen. This has happened to me when I was going to school. Even after I became a monk, so there are a lot of demands. In school, there is a morning assembly. My teachers used to put me in the spot, center of attention, put me on the spot and say, my lay name was Anand. Anand, come forward and give a speech about something. So my heart starts beating fast, and I really was not given, even if I was given enough time to prepare, still, all I was doing was thinking about it, not preparing. I knew it was going to come the next day at so and so time, and I knew that I had to, go in front of everybody, and I would fear about the worst things that could happen, like that I will collapse in front of everybody, my legs will not support me stand in front of the audience, my mouth will go dry, and that I will lose connection from the first sentence to the second. So I was kind of having a drama inside my mind, eggs boiling in my stomach. That's how they say. So having a trumpet in my whole body. So this is when we come to learn about anxiety. It's about something that is yet to happen. This is a crisis moment for a child. And I think this can be seen in two ways. Teachers, when they give children instructions, they can guide them. They can ask, make sure that this child, this student, if you are a teacher, make sure, when I became a teacher, I learned that. Make sure you give instructions. This is how you begin. This is how you, spend the first minute. And the second minute you say this. The third minute you say this. And this is how you end. So write a speech. Prepare first until you become comfortable. Giving a natural speech, just write the speech, don't look at it, but prepare, talk to a tree. So these instructions should be given. When these instructions have been given, and when you have been given an example, the child's brain prepares well and gains confidence. Instead of just throwing the child to that scene, you give them a set of instructions. We learn by example. Thinking is a big, big problem for us. I will bring you an example from Ajahn Braham. Um, when he was living in northeastern Thailand, his teacher gave him a task, and he summoned all the monks, about 30 of them, in the dry, humid forest, and they were given instructions to remove a pile of soil, a huge one. It takes them 3 days, taking just one meal a day and just water in the afternoon, and in the humid, sunny weather, they had to work hard using the tools and wheelbarrows to move this pile of soil from one place to another. The teacher gave them instructions where the soil should be. As they began working, the teacher left. So they worked hard 3 days in a row. They managed to put it where the teacher told them to put the pile of soil. It's very hard. They were just about to get some a break, have a nice warm bath and go sit and do some nice meditation. Just as they finished the work, the second abbot came and asked all the monks, "Doesn't seem good to have the pile of soil here. It seems like it's blocking the entryway to the monastery. It seems like this is not good looking. I think now we will have to unfortunately move the pile of soil to a different place." These monks were so disappointed, so very disappointed. These English monks, together with Thai monks, now have to listen to the abbot, the second abbot, while the main abbot was away in a journey somewhere. And now these monks, unwillingly, unhappily, still they had to listen to this second abbot and began moving the pile of soil to the place that was marked by that second abbot. 3 days in a row, now 6 days in a row, they have been working hard, working on this project, and it's never ending. All the frustration began to build up in their minds, in their bodies. And they reached to the 6th day. Now the project has been completed. They were kind of having a hope, having a little break. They thought, now this is the time to relax. This is the time to get a break, have a bath. No rewards, no tips. All the tips is that now that they get a break, they can sit and meditate. Just as they were taking that break, just as they were preparing for some days of rest, the abbot returned. To their disappointment, the abbot was telling them a complete different story. "Who told you to put the pile of soil in that other place? I told you to put it right here. It's not there. Wrong place. I had plans for this pile of soil. That's why I told you to put it in this place." Now, the monks have been given new set of instructions upon the returning of the main abbot. Now, the work ahead of them is 3 days of hard work. It's going to be 9 days, maybe even more now that they are tired. Just taking one meal a day under humid sun. No progress. In this meditation center, all that we do is removing pile of soil from one place to another. Soil work. This is hard labor. No wages being paid. Nobody to appreciate. This is so unfair. The anxiety and all the frustration built up in their minds. So these English monks, especially Ajahn Braham, began cursing in English language. Even when he was cursing in English language, maybe the Thai monks and other non-English speaking monks didn't understand the English, but they could tell that this monk was unhappy, that he was angry and he was cursing to somebody. But they began the work, still cursing. And Ajahn Brahm had a wheelbarrow full of soil filled by some other monk. Now he was cursing and pulling this to the other place. And this Thai monk, his companion in holy life, came to him and said these wise words: pushing the wheelbarrow is easy. Thinking about it is harder. Pushing the wheelbarrow is easy. Thinking about it is harder. And this was an enlightening moment for Ajahn Brahm. To a wise man, these words came like a powerful, very powerful teaching. And that's when your friends really help you. Thinking part puts weight. Just pushing, doing the actual work, like giving that speech for me as a student in school was the easy part. But thinking about it for the whole day was the hardest part. Instead of preparing, even when I came to Harvard University, professors, my advisor, sometimes different organizations asked me to give speeches about my experience as a monk or something about the Buddha's teaching. And I realized from these teachings and from my own experience that thinking about it is not I should do, just preparing for the talk. This is how I begin, this is how I end, these are the things, and if not, I will be pulling my hair out, running like a mad hatter. Although I don't have any, I have shaven my head and I don't have a hat, but mad hatter is someone who is just, a matted hair and running here and there without a purpose. If I did that, I will not have anything to present to the audience. All the problem comes with you thinking that the audience judge you. You think for them and waste your time. It's all a waste of time. So just like that dentist experience the child had, when you went to the appointment, all you find is that the dentist appointment is cancelled. In the case of our teacher Ajahn Braham, he found out that this work that you do is part of your meditation. It's telling you the conundrum, the duality between the mind and the body. Leave the worrying part and come to the part where you can appreciate this very work you are doing and give 100% to that work. Just like, when you have written something, you can edit it. You cannot edit a blank page. If you have put some words in it, you can begin editing it. That's why if you were sitting doing nothing, worrying about writing the book, you would never accomplish your goal. This is what happens. Do not worry about the past. Do not, these are the Buddha's words. Atitang nanu sochaya. Do not worry about the past. Nappa jappanti nagatam. What is yet to come, don't worry about it. Pachuppannena yapenti. Stay in the present. Embrace the duty that you have to do 100%. You are going to dinner right after this. Give 100% to savor it, flavor it, and embrace that job. Serving the family 100% attention. Even if something goes wrong, enjoy it. And again, Ajahn Braham example. I think you've had so many teachings from him, but I think I find love in his teachings. Even recently, I was listening to him, his talk on Vesak, so much power, so much of wisdom. He has given, I think, 100% to reflection in that talk. That's why he gave that talk. Earlier in a talk, he mentioned he built a brick wall, and one of the bricks he put in there wasn't quite aligned. So he began worrying about it. That was many years after he left Thailand, and he was now living in Australia, in Perth. Now that he was building the monastery, he began worrying about, he felt embarrassed about that. That what if he, moved that brick when he was, doing the work, and all these thoughts came to his mind. And then again he had this wisdom that all the rest of the bricks were fine. Right? When you are serving dinner tonight, all the work you have done preparing that meal, storing that food, and that was the rest of the work. Just be happy about the other 99% so that you can enjoy it. All right, worrying is part of the monastic journey too. I will bring up the Zen story. This is a Zen story that is very, very popular. So this one story is, has been shared hundreds and numerous times by different, storytellers, monks from all these traditions. These two monks, the student and teacher, they were journeying, they were reaching to the monastery. The student was watching and observing his own precepts, watching the teacher at the same time. And at this moment, they came to a point where they had to cross a river. And this woman panicked. She had not faced such flood in that area. She didn't know anything about the river. But the teacher and the student were familiar with this area, so they knew that there won't be holes and there won't be any danger. But this woman pleaded, asked this, appeared as if she needed help. All that the teacher did was went near the woman and offered help. She climbed at the back of the teacher, and the teacher silently held her, crossed the river, the student behind, and then the teacher put the woman across the shore on the other side of the river, and then started silently journeying towards where they were going. The student was very upset about this. So upset that he refused to talk to the teacher. The student thought the teacher was a hypocrite. The teacher was telling the student to not touch women. It is against the Vinaya, against the disciplinary code of monks. And the teacher telling this to the student, it seems like the teacher is breaking the rules, because monks have these strong Vinaya rules to not even look at women sometimes for their practice. It's just sometimes a teacher, and depending on where the student is, they will struggle with it. When this was told to the student, he took it seriously. He was trying to be a good student, and he thought the teacher broke precepts. So he was not able to focus on the journey, not able to focus 100% on his walking, and the teacher could sense that the student was holding a grudge against him. And then finally, the student could no longer hold it, told the teacher that you have broken your precept. You are not supposed to touch that woman. I cannot accept you as my teacher anymore. Seems like you are a hypocrite. You are telling one thing and you are doing something else. And right at that moment, the teacher calmly said, I have dropped that woman on the other side of the river. It seems like you are still holding her. You are still carrying her. This was, to that wise student, this was a moment, great awakening moment. For him, he realized all that he was doing was carrying something, an event that took place in the past, that he only had to drop it and focus 100% on the journey. If he asked that question right there, when that happened, he would get an answer. But instead of doing that, he started having hundreds of thoughts, angry thoughts, disappointment towards that teacher. So this happens to all of us. Sometimes we don't prepare a moment for discussion and we go through a lot of suffering. I will bring up a story, another story about a dietitian woman that I met, and this connects with inner peace. Inner peace comes from within. It doesn't come from external sources, right? If you don't have inner peace within you, you will find hundreds of days it outside. You are not going to find it. You think the inner peace is in the monasteries, you think it's in the ocean. Only when you begin seeing it in you, you will find it outside. The story of the dietitian woman is that when, just as she was going through a crisis at home, she was going through a divorce. She's a friend of mine, and she's a dietitian working in a hospital here. And her husband was very toxic towards her. And she started regretting the relationship and all that. Because of the divorce, she started having panic attacks at night, feeling toxic in her stomach, and all the abuse she went through, she could not take it any longer. As a result, her body started reacting. She had developed a skin condition that's hard to overcome. Red spots started appearing in her skin, and corners of her lips started cracking, and she realized she was having a crisis. And she started seeking help from therapists and everybody. Her divorce part ended, but these marks in her body remained, recurring. So she started meditating. She started going to 4 days yoga, and she realized just as she was finding peace within her, she was recovering. But then again, she got married again, and the second husband wasn't helpful at home. They didn't have a dishwasher at home. You have, in these countries, they use dishwashers. The husband wasn't very helpful doing dishes at night. Then, because of that, she started complaining. She started, complaining again, and she had lost a lot of time doing dishes on her own, and then she started complaining less time for meditation. The problems started recurring. Problems started coming back. So because she lost time for meditation, lost time for yoga. Doing yoga and meditation has helped her formerly, but now she was not getting that help because her husband isn't helping. And again, her skin conditions started recurring. So she started doing meditation instead of complaining, doing meditations, staying focused in her goal. It's not about that husband, it's not about doing dishes. She began finding joy and happiness in the work she does, and the skin conditions disappeared. Sometimes the crisis moments are like tattoos in the heart. They are leaving body marks in your body. So, if you don't look after yourself, nobody will. That's, I think, the time to wrap up. We have come to about 45 minutes of talking. If anybody has questions, please bring them up. So I will be happy to answer with, I had a whole outline, but we are not even going to cover the whole thing. I think I'll have to leave the rest for later. So if you have questions, feel free to post them, and I will be happy to respond accordingly. Any questions?
Um, so far, we have not received any questions, Bhante.
So I
Uh,
usually give them the chance. So
yeah, let's see. Yeah, so far just we have a lot of comments, but no questions.
Mhm.
So do you want to carry on for a little while longer?
I will absolutely.
Yeah.
So so I will go on with another Zen story. This is a story also I learned from Ajahn Brahm. Well, having been that close to him, Mr. Leslie mentioned that I was translating for him when I was in Sri Lanka. In fact, I was in Boston, and then I was called to Sri Lanka during the middle of my semester in Harvard University. So I had to go for 7 days. Actually, it was 11 days, living in Sri Lanka, just translating one time for Ajahn Brahm, two times for Ajahn Brahm, another time for Ajahn Brahmali, and then fly back right away to United States to continue my education. This Zen story I learned when he was teaching the difference between hell and heaven. Another remarkable story. This soldier came to a monk who was meditating in the jungle and had a question. The the monk was silent. Deep in the jungle, this soldier was having a crisis. He wanted to know where is the hell and where is the heaven. He asked that question. The monk was silent. The second time, the soldier bent, kneeling himself down and asked this question, putting his palm together. Where is the hell? Where is the heaven? Is there a hell? Is there a heaven? The monk was silent. The third time he asked the same question. The third time the monk was silent. The soldier pulled out his sword and hoisted the sword and asked, "Is there a hell?" Just as these words were spoken, the monk opened his mouth and said, "That is hell." And then he put the sword back in the thing, in his case. And the monk said, "That is heaven." And that beautiful story, just as when you begin reacting to certain situations, when you think that you are the controller, you are going to face the consequences. The chemicals within our system, begin shooting. Donald Hebb, Donald Hebb is one of the neuroscientists. He said, neurons that fire together wire together. When you are angry, in your brain cells and neurons begin shooting, and they begin wiring together. Someone who is getting angry constantly will have them wired and wired and wired in their brain, so they react even faster, more fire begin to shoot. This he said in 1965. So be careful what you feed, what you look for, because they are going to come true and you will have more crisis in your life. So stop seeking anger. Instead, feed something positive, feed something good. So never stop complaining that you don't have, never begin complaining. Never continue complaining that you don't have time for meditation. Those who have time for meditation, please take it. Don't take the time for granted. We all have expiration dates. So success is, finding that you have this day is a good day for you, and that is your success. Taking each day as a good day. And if you start seeking peace, you will, if you, nobody else will find it for you. You find it yourself. So it comes when you are seeking it. It comes when when you can say you are a busy person. If you are a busy person, if you are not a busy person, you should meditate 1 hour a day. If you are a busy person, you should meditate 2 hours a day. That's the instruction. Why is that? Because that meditation gives you clarity. The mud disappears so that you can see things clearly. You bring a peaceful presence to the meeting. You bring a peaceful presence, 100% presence to your husband, good presence to your wife, good presence to your children. So you undo the past, you undo the future. The present is the time that you have crafted well, that the time, it's just like the dishes that you are washing. Instead of complaining, you took it as an opportunity and you began correcting yourself and you began doing it for them. Then you find joy in doing that. And then you go sit, and you have a nice meditation, and everybody can tell that you have had a nice, warm meditation out there. It's a nice cup of positivity, nice tea, positivity to have. That's why they say, if you believe you are enlightened, go live with your family for 1 week. They will tell you whether you are enlightened or not, because you see your children coming home, or somebody coming home, they remove shoes, one shoe in the kitchen, another in the dining room. Then this is a crisis moment for you. That's where crisis begins in real life. Then you begin complaining. Children unhappy. They don't learn. You come home after working hard. Children don't show respect to you. They're sitting like they don't show any respect. Unlike the old days. In old days, you show up, raise from the seat and put your hands together, bow, and you don't sit in front of elders. I used to do that. I still do that for senior teachers. I rise from the seat and show respect. We are still supposed to do that. But sometimes children grown up in different cultures, they are absorbed into cell phones. That's a whole different subject. They ignore, they don't even see that their parents came. And they are very nervous, their legs shaking. Exactly. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Heart's education is so important. You can have degrees and degrees, but if you have not educated your heart, you have fed your mind with knowledge, that's no education at all. So these children, they are very nervous, shaking legs and, saying, "Hi, mom, hi, dad." This is no good, you know, and you tell them, "Stay still." And you ask a question, they cannot talk because if their body is not shaking, they don't know how to talk. This is truly a shocking experience, for us. Sometimes when we visit families, we see that children don't really behave well, and even in front of us, strangers, monks visiting, they get annoyed in front of towards certain things that you know their parents say, and this embarrasses. This is embarrassing for parents. That's why some educated professors, they don't have TVs, because until their children have grown up to be 20 or 21 years old, they never have a TV because they want children to talk to them. Even if they do, it has never been turned on. It's just sitting there. And that is because, giving 100% means the whole family need to talk at the dinner table, come together, discuss family problems, and that avoids crisis. The foreseeable crisis won't come. So it's not when you are facing a crisis that you need to, before it comes, before the storm comes, when you are in the storm, you cannot control it. Let the storm pass, let it go, let things be. You know, you may have done something wrong. You may have done things wrong. Again, the Buddha says, Yasa papam katang kamang kusalena pitiyati. You may have done wrong things, but fill up with wholesome things. Soimang lokang pabhaseti. You are going to shine like the moon Abba Mutto Chandima, the moon that is free from cloud. That is what the Buddha said. Do something good, bring up 5 precepts, stay in the 5 precepts or 10 precepts, 8 precepts. You are going to have a rewarded, beautiful life. You yourself will find happy moments in your life. Go deeper, dive deeper. Don't wait until the storm comes. Dive deeper. When you go deep in the ocean, the waves that are upsetting above the surface will not bother you. So stop trying to calm the waves above. You yourself go deeper in the meditation. Walk slowly. Don't trip over things. Be mindful in the activities you do, and you will find beautiful peace coming before the storm comes. And you are well equipped. You are in the middle of the ocean, but you are well equipped to deal with the ocean. Go with the flow so that you don't really get. But they say only dead fish go with the flow, right? The fish, perhaps before the storm comes, you never find any fish that's caught in a storm and dead. You always, it's best. The fish knows before the storm comes. They find safe places. They hide there. No storm will take them. Just like that, financially or emotionally, before these crises come, the Buddha says, Begin saving. Apada Subhavisati. In crisis moments, you will have it for you. So we got another 1 minute before we finish. Any last question? Oh, no question at all. That's fine to have no questions.
We had one question, Bhante, but it's not relevant to our topic. Maybe we should do it another time.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, we are actually running short of time at the moment.
Yep.
So maybe we should end here this evening
Yeah.
and somehow maybe arrange for another day for you to come
So
back with us. And sometime in June, maybe we can have you back with us.
we will see.
Yeah. So maybe we can end by the transference about marriage to the
Sure.
devas as well as the dearly departed.
Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakhantu sasanang chiran rakhantu desanang chiran rakhantu tang sada. May heavenly beings protect us, protect the sasana, protect our inner hearts by looking after us in every direction. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.